AITA for telling my brother I was his best man, that his toxic but love of his life ex was trying to get in touch with him the night before his wedding. Sorry, I suck at writing. Please to forgive in advance. My brother starting dating Big Cheryl when he was in 6th grade. He's 25 now, to show how long this has been going on. To say that he and Big Cheryl were toxic together is an understatement. They have well over a decade of torturing the fuck out of each other. To say they have broken up and gotten back together well over 1,000 times is another understatement. My entire family would go through the roller coaster ride with him, and we'd always see him date a really nice girl. Then Big Cheryl would get in touch with promises of porno sex, and he'd dump the nice girl and be right back into the Big Cheryl's arms. It has been about 2 years since their last breakup, and he met a girl named Carly who is literally a peach. We all love everything about her. My brother finally went no contact with Big Cheryl at the time he met Carly and has had 2 years of relationship bliss. They got married on Saturday. My brother says he blocked Big Cheryl on everything, and I am inclined to believe him, since it's been 2 years since her stench has darkened our doors. We had a very low-key bachelor party on Friday in that we played poker and smoked cigars. At about 11:30 Big Cheryl texted me and asked if the wedding was really taking place. I said yes, and to not bother him. She said to please let him know her heart was breaking, but she'd be his personal bachelor party if he was so inclined. I didn't say anything to my brother that night, but on the way from the ceremony to the reception I made a joke about Big Cheryl contacting me, and you could see the blood drain from his face. All he said was thanks. Well, later in the evening Carly caught my brother in the kitchen of the reception place on the phone with Big Cheryl. They had a huge fight, and while they tried to put on a good face for the rest of the reception, it was cold as ice for the rest of the night. My brother came over now and said that I ruined his life by telling me that Big Cheryl had got 10 in touch with me. I guess he and Carly have been fighting non-stop since Saturday, and there is talk of canceling the honeymoon. My brother totally blames me and says I should have known better. Was I the asshole for telling him that Big Cheryl was trying to get in touch with him? Now let's look at the comments. NTA. Carly deserves better than marrying a guy who is so hung up on his toxic ex that he calls her from the reception hall. I do have to wonder what the endgame for OP was in telling his brother, though. And why OP hadn't blocked Cheryl's number, when he had no reason to stay in contact with her either, and had no reason to want her in his brother's life. The brother definitely needs to get himself together, and I hurt for Carly, but there's some missing pieces in the story OP is telling. It almost feels like sabotage, and it turns it into ESH for me. I'm going to slightly disagree. OP should have kept his mouth shut. Emotions run high at weddings, and with something as toxic as that, relationship should have been kept far away. OP is TA for saying something, and brother is a bigger AH for contacting ex at his own wedding. By this logic, why TA for not telling him immediately after she reached out? Wedding would have been cancelled and she'd have been free of him. You are so right. My first instinct was no. Why did OP tell him? But yes, Carly absolutely deserves someone whose heart is 100% hers. Yet, as OP kinda let it slip and didn't mention Carly as a reason to do so, I'd say he's accidentally into A.